Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nic Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond.
So today we are discussing Season 1, Episode 11, The Three Lessons, which originally aired November 16th, 1985. And today we have a very special guest, Hilary, host of the long-running Radio Meanwhile series previously on X-Men.
Hey, very
Did I say that
special
right?
guest. I like it.
Yeah, he added.
Oh, I said very. Oh, yeah.
You got a little promotion there. I like that. Hilary, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Are you?
I'm all right.
Okay. All right. Hilary's been talking 90s cartoons over on previously on X-Men, so you're going back a full decade.
Yeah.
Into the 80s here.
Yeah.
And
we don't want to compare these cartoons.
That's true.
This and the X-Men.
You
cartoon.
don't think this has the same deep emotional level that the X-Men animated series has?
You know, I'm just gonna withdraw that part of my brain, and I'm just gonna go straight into Ewok world.
Okay. All right.
You think Wicket has as much character development as like Wolverine?
He might. I mean,
they're buddies.
To be fair, Wicket does go where he wants to go. We've seen that in many episodes. So, today's episode was written by Bob Carew, directed by Ken Stevenson and Raymond DeFelice. Now, normally I would tell you how this one was released to home media, but it never has been. So this is probably the most obscure episode of the Ewoks cartoon because it has never been released on VHS or DVD. There's only one other episode that has that same limitation there. So
what the heck? Why?
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
It's bizarre, right? It's like a unregistered episode or something.
Racist or something.
No, I don't know.
They're not hiding it for some reason.
We were talking. We were talking in the last episode how they package these things to sort of make sense. So I was kind of wondering, well, maybe this one is just like too far off the beaten path for it to fit with other episodes, but I felt like this was a pretty standard episode. So
I think so. Standard as in we've kind of seen this before,
right?
In just
yes, exactly.
different way. But
I can think of a lot of other ones you could compare it with, but this and one episode from season 2 just have never seen any kind of release. So it was like original air date and then Disney Plus. So here we are. Usual
so I guess
cast
unless
and crew back. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, unless you recorded it on television, right? You probably would never have seen those two episodes unless you saw it on television.
There are probably kids, or I mean like grown-ups now, who have like closets full of those like little VHS tapes with the white labels.
Yep, could be.
Oh, yeah.
Could be. All right, our featured cast member today, Hilary, I pulled a couple just for you.
Just for me?
Yes, George Buza, who plays Chief Chirpa, voices...
I didn't look.
Okay, he voices an X-Men character.
Wait, who? Chief Chirpa?
Chief Chirpa.
Listen, not a single... I was thinking that there might be some overlap, but nothing jumped out at me.
Chief Chirpa, who is Nisa's father, is Beast from X-Men the Animated Series.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if they're putting a filter on it. It feels a little pitched up to me. I don't know.
Yeah?
What do you think, Steve? You think they're doing that?
I guess. I don't know. It's the gruffness in his voice I feel like is harsher, right?
Yeah.
That's
something
weird.
different about it. But
honestly, I find Beast to be a very skilled voice actor.
Yeah.
So that is odd to me.
Yeah, and it's not that far removed. X-Men the Animated Series is what?
92?
90, yeah, so I was going to say 92, 90, I think it is 92.
Yeah.
And this
so
is
it's 7 years.
1985,
yeah.
So he's come a long way. So he voices Beast in X-Men the Animated Series. Several video games. He's expected to reprise the role in the recently announced continuation series X-Men 97.
Yes, which I have mixed feelings about.
I know.
They're not super mixed. They're mostly negative.
Oh, negative?
Yeah.
Mixed negative.
Hot take.
Wow. Mixed in that it would be expected.
It's not even out yet.
Excited.
Yeah.
You're just very critical. Are you just very skeptical?
I am.
Is that why you think?
I also feel like there are... I generally don't like the reboot thing. Every now and then it works, but mostly I just feel like if you're nostalgic for something, that's great, but it should just be its own thing. Like you don't have to drag it back like a zombie and make it into something current. But who knows? Maybe it'll be great.
Allison Court, who voices Milani, who maybe we saw Milani, I don't remember that, but she didn't really have a role here.
We saw two young female Ewoks.
I think maybe we saw Milani dancing in the very beginning, and that's it. But that's Allison Court, who voices Jubilee.
Oh, okay.
And finally, Nisa, who does get a lot of play in this episode. Cree Summers voices Nisa. She also voiced Magma in the X-Men Legends game.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to remember, did the three of us play the X-Men Legends game back in like 2007? I feel
The first one?
Yeah, I think we did.
It's possible.
First one?
Back
It's
in the
possible.
It's
cabin.
possible.
Yeah.
I just remember mostly playing. What's the one we always play? I
Voyager
require
one?
more power to do that.
That's it. That's
No,
X-Men Legends. That's X-Men Legends.
Oh, that is Legends?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, that was...
Sunfire. Yeah. And then that rolls into Ultimate Alliance. But
Dormammu.
Yeah, I think we
Dormammu.
Dormammu.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Hillary, if you ever do a two-parter on the X-Men Legends games for previously an X-Men, you can sign up, Steve.
All right.
Oh yeah, I'll do all the voices.
I'll write it
for you.
down.
So Cree Summers, who is Nisa, voices Magma in X-Men Legends, and she also voices Storm in the Marvel Superhero Squad game. So lots of X-Men crossover.
Yeah, there's a bunch there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the voice acting world seems to have a lot of returning actors.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So when they announced that they're doing like Ewoks 87, a reprise,
Oh, please.
maybe they'll come back to do these.
Oh my gosh.
So great. You know what's crazy though? The fact that like these people are working on these projects that are very different, but now, if it were now, you'd be like, oh yeah, somebody's working on a Disney project or a Star Wars project and a Marvel project. It just makes sense.
That's true.
But if you think like this was, this was many years of,
Back
years
then,
ago,
there
and
were
they were
multiple
This was
things.
before all the corporate incest, so it hadn't quite.
Yeah, right. So they must have just used the same studios and had the production companies or there was just well-known people.
I guess
makes sense.
I guess so. All right,
I mean, shoot Paul Dini, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good point. Do you want to take us into the more detailed plot?
I will take us in.
Okay.
This is my favorite part of the episodes. I love the detailed plot.
Well, that's good because it's the longest part of the episode.
Very misleading.
Have a seat, have some coffee.
Yeah.
No, it's only one page.
Okay.
I've been doing that now. I've been very good at keeping it one page.
But the thing is, Steve, you always manage to make it sound like the episodes are interesting and layered.
Yeah, that's true.
Good. I'm glad.
Okay. I was very dismayed when I actually watched an episode because I was not prepared for the level of
I make it sound way better.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, let's hear it.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's hear the uber detailed plot of Ewoks Season 1, Episode 11, The 3 Lessons. This episode begins with Nisa learning about becoming a leader from her father, Chief Chirpa, and Logray. Chirpa talks about the importance of 3 lessons. The lessons of the hand, the lessons of the head, and of the heart. The lesson of the hand will teach both strength and speed. The lesson of the head when the hands do not succeed. But the lesson of the heart will make the leader strong. That's Chief Chirpa's saying.
Okay.
Or Logray's, I can't remember which one. So with head and heart together, the hand is never wrong.
I would love to know what the meter is for that particular poem. We've got the two, the rhyme, and then something else.
Yeah,
is it?
Else.
Yeah,
it's not a
haiku?
A haiku.
I don't think it's a haiku.
Okay.
No.
They've done this before with very clever wording in other episodes, so it seems to be a thing that comes back.
I guess so.
I like it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Nisa is distracted in her studies by her friends. She runs to play with them and accidentally knocks over some of Logray's potions into a potted plant. After she leaves, the plant, which we find out later is a stranglethorn plant, quickly grows into a giant stranglethorn plant monster. The village is unable to subdue the stranglethorn plant and are cut off from the antidote inside Logray's hut. Escaping the growing plant, Wicket and Nisa set off to find the ingredients needed to create another antidote. Keep nectar, ganga root, and trone sap are what they're looking for.
I truly thought they were saying troll sap, and
I
I was like,
that.
I do not want to know what that is.
What do you do to get troll sap?
Yeah.
Trome, good.
Trome,
it's a tree.
Trome.
It's a tree.
Yep, it's a tree.
It's just Arriving at a keet hive, Nisa develops a clever way for her and Wicket to get inside. Unfortunately, they are immediately caught once they get in.
Immediately.
Running away, they find the keet nectar stockpile. It's actually nectar orbs. Removing the bottom nectar orb from the pile, Wicket starts an avalanche, much like you do at a shopping center with the oranges and apples. It's contained until a keep removes the door, sending Wicket and Nisa on a wild nectar orb ride in the hive and are sent flying outside. They embarrassingly continue on to find the next ingredient, Ganga root. Back at the Ewok village, they all continue to struggle with the giant strangle plant as it leaves some of the Woklings stranded. Wicket and Nisa find Ganga root, but discover it's impossible to remove from the ground. Nearby, a barber bird lands and begins pulling them out using a special technique. The Ewoks try it themselves and are able to remove a root, the last root, that is. The barber bird chases them, but the two are able to escape the hungry bird. The final ingredient is trome sap, which they find in a tree at the top of a large hill. Before they can grab a branch from the tree, they are surprised by the tree's occupants, 3 tromes that tried to scare them away. After the surprise wears off, the tromes beg the Ewoks to not take the last branch of their tree, or their home will die. Nisa is torn between what her village needs and what the tromes need. Thinking quickly of an idea, Nisa asks the tromes to come with them back to their village. When they get to the village, Chirpa and Logray are distressed because they don't have all the ingredients needed. However, Nisa implements her plan anyway. Wicket and the tromes retrieve the original antidote from Logray's hut while Nisa, distracting the plant, goes to rescue the Woklings using the same trick she used to get into the Keat hive. Wicket and the tromes are able to retrieve the potion and feed it to the plant using acorns. It begins to shrink to its original size inside its pot before it can take root in the ground. Afterwards, Nisa promises she will listen and study the 3 lessons. Logray tells her she already has. By entering and escaping the Keat hive, she displayed agility, a lesson of the hands. By figuring a way to unearth the Ganga root, she proved she learned a lesson of the head. Finally, by sparing the trome's tree, she showed that she learned the lesson of the heart. The group cheers ecstatically for Nisa. Roll credits.
Once again, the Ewok village saved by children.
Children.
Unsupervised children.
They are the future.
Finally did it. Hilary, I didn't ask you up top, like, what is your background in this show? Would you have any awareness of it before this show popped up on the
Honestly,
Radio Meanwhile Network?
No, I didn't. I did not know that this show existed.
Okay.
Probably until about the show, yeah.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I obviously knew Star Wars.
Yeah.
But this was before this. When did this come out? 1985? That was the year of my birth.
Oh.
So I was not cognizant of this.
Okay, and, like, have you sat down and watched, like, start to finish an episode of this show prior to this one?
First one. This is the only one I've ever
This is your
watched.
first.
Honestly,
Okay.
I mean, it's not a bad start. I you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
So this was a good
This
example.
is
I mean,
this is this is pretty much what it is.
yeah.
Okay.
This is it.
Okay.
Like,
Cool.
Yeah, because well, if you've heard the show before, you know that it kind of starts with a serialized thing where you have Morag, who's this witch, and she's got this long-standing. She's the arch nemesis of Logray, and they're kind of like, screw that, we don't want to do that. Let's just send the kids out into the woods and see what happens. And so, but this, I think,
So
the majority of the show is this kind of thing. Like, we have a one-off disaster. Let's pick a couple of Ewoks to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
When Chirpa was like, "You, Wicket, and Nisa, guard like the
Right.
the service elevator."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, they're like they don't even make it up to your hip.
Yeah, I know.
You know, what are they gonna do?
I liked the concept that this plant mutated and was trying to get down to the ground to root. I thought that was actually kind of a good, let's call it a B plot, for the rest of the village. And by the rest of the village, I mean the 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like nobody. That's actually a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Do we usually see the village in this show?
Yes, and this was maybe this was more noticeably stark than it typically is because you have like Aunt Bozzy and you have everybody's parents and like usually there's stuff happening, but this really was just like the kids.
It does seem like it's just 2 adults.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple teenagers and then a whole mess of kids.
Little kids.
Yeah.
But anyway,
well, they tried to soften the blow with like the Keats laughing.
Yeah.
When the Ewok, I thought that would be the last thing I would be doing if my entire, collection of nectar orbs just basically went from the top to the bottom. I would be pissed.
Yeah.
But it's like they're like, oh, it's so
That's
funny.
true.
This was funny, and it's like,
So
no,
funny.
it was terrible.
So
It's a
funny.
terrible thing.
But
Yeah.
I mean, all that to say is, I don't think in the past when we've had one of these episodes where it's like, okay, the whatever troop is going to go, that's the action. We don't usually have something going on back at the ranch. You know what I mean? And so to have them be trying to like stop this thing from rooting down, I was like, well, at least we've got two different things
There's
going on.
layers, yeah.
You know?
I think the thing that stood out to me the most watching this as my first experience was that you sort of expect cartoons that like you remember or like things that have something that lasts.
Yeah.
To have kind of like this part's for the kids, and then they also have like jokes for the parents, or they have like a storyline that's more complex that the parents can be interested in. But this was like 100% just like nonsense for kids, and I think that was where I had to get some adjusting.
What about how we just like are slapped right into it?
That was startling.
Yeah.
That was startling because she what's her name, the princess lady? Nisa knocks over that stuff and leaves. And then the plant grows, and then that's the problem. That's what we're going to deal with for this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know what it just felt very sudden, jumping right in there.
Yeah. No, I get that. The Keats cracked me up. I mean, I sort of liked that whole sequence with the using the leaves to walk through, and you trying to get the little, like, what was it? Like the little orb.
It was a nectar
orb.
Nectar orb. Yeah.
That, the Wicket pulling one and then everything collapsing literally happened to me as a child. Like, I actually,
that's why I was like, perfect.
I actually
was very
experienced
relatable.
that once. I was in a dollar store with my grandma, and there was a bunch of dinosaur puzzles that were just like in square puzzle boxes in the center of the store, and I wanted one towards the bottom, and apparently it was the linchpin, and I grabbed it, and it was just like, and just cascaded throughout this store. And I was so embarrassed, and we were like trying to leave, and the store clerk was like, "Oh no, you're not leaving without that puzzle." So,
you gotta buy it now.
We bought the puzzle, and
well, at least they didn't make you clean it up. I thought they were going to do that.
That's true. So I could relate. Yeah. So I mean, the stuff with the Keats, I kind of liked their character design. I liked that sequence probably the most.
Yeah,
there was a lot of new animals, right? Who brought up that they liked all those animals that were in
Kendra usually likes
Kendra,
animals,
yeah. In this episode, because she said that, I was just like, wow, it's like the fourth new animal we're seeing.
Yeah.
It's just been a lot, you know?
And you had a couple in the very beginning too, when the music was going, you saw some like weird bird, duck, bear things. You know what I mean?
The suction cup bird mouth ducks.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So next, I guess I didn't care so much about them trying to get the Ganga root next. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, with the whoopee
that one
roots.
seemed...
Yeah, right.
Did it seem like they were planted like that? So the whole time I was thinking like, is like the owner of these obviously planted in rows plants, Ganga, plants, are they going to come out and be like, oh, mad? And it was like, oh no, it was the bird that actually chased them, not the person who owned it. So.
No, I went another direction. I thought that it was going to be like an animal. And those were like scales on its back or something, and it was going to like stand up out of the ground. That's what I thought we were heading towards. But no, just plants.
It was actually a plant.
Yeah, just Mr. McGregor comes out and chases him away, and that's pretty much it. But and then
that was easy. That was the easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how they're like, oh, she used her head, and it was just like, I mean, not really. They just kind of they didn't. They tried,
right.
and then And then when they saw the bird do it, they were like, "Oh, we'll just do that." That's not actually using your head; it's just copying.
They tried, failed, gave up, and then copied a bird.
Yes,
using your head.
But you learn the lesson of the head.
True.
No, they gave up.
Right.
They legit gave up.
Right, waited for someone to do it for them. What an amazing lesson. And then we get to the Trome tree, and my first reaction was like, "This is a tree that produces sap," because it looked like somebody cut it down.
It looked hollow.
It did
too.
look.
I was just like,
it did look hollow. Steve has a wilderness background, Hilary, so you have to.
He
knows all about it.
There's not going to be a whole lot of sap in that tiny little sprig of a tree.
Yeah, it had the one leaf.
Yeah.
So it was still kicking.
It was still, something was going on.
But they kept insisting that they needed to break off the leaf.
Yeah.
But you just need the sap.
Right.
Just like get some sap.
Yeah.
Well, probably because the rest of it was dead.
Yeah.
So that probably was the only living part of it,
the sap.
where only the sap is. Yeah.
Do they think they have to milk leaves to get sap out? Because
these are children.
Right.
They
that's a
do
good
not
point.
know.
That's a good note, Hilary. Thank you.
I mean, there was also there's no other Trome trees around.
That's it. That's the only one.
The Trome tree.
And
there's more spirit trees than Trome trees.
That's true.
We'd worship that one more.
And not for nothing, but apparently there's only 3 Tromes as well.
Yeah.
So,
you want more Tromes?
I'm just saying the needs of the many. You know what I mean? Just Sorry.
Well, there's the other thing too that they were surprised by the Tromes, but then I was just like, oh wait, they're the Tromes.
Yeah.
But the tree is also a Trome tree.
Yeah.
So wouldn't they know that there's going to be Tromes if they're going to a Trome tree?
But again, to Hilary's point,
oh, we're going to go check out that panther tree over there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
probably be great.
I'm getting attacked.
There's panthers here.
Call the panther tree, man.
This was. We talk about this every time. The fact that there's not a central character, really. Mm-hmm. Wicket and Nisa you can make an argument for. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the cast is usually just a population of okay, yes, I think so. All the people back home, like the little kids, I didn't really recognize.
Yeah.
And
those new little walklings. I'm sure we've seen them probably from that first episode where there was remember that celebration or something, that ceremony that they had?
Even
and
some
that's
of the adults we were
seeing
seeing this time. I was like, I don't know who this is.
Do you always get Chirpa and Paplu mixed up?
Yes.
When he goes, I'm Paplu, and I was like, oh, I thought that was
good
Chirpa. I legit thought that was Chirpa.
Thank you, Paplu.
I can't keep track of him anymore.
I thought when they come back to the village and Logre's like, do you have the ingredients? And they were like, we do not. I was like, what was the point of all that? If they're just going to get the potion that was in Logre's house to begin with, have you not wasted all of our time today?
I know.
I don't know.
That was Kavark. And it's just that was a really dumb mission in the first
Tromes
place.
struck me as very Alice in Wonderland-y. The way they're always I guess maybe a Tweedledee Tweedledum thing, the way they're always kind of balancing
I guess
on each other.
It felt like the kind of thing that this week we're introducing this weird thing on this planet.
Or a ring ring.
Like
a goofy ring ring thing.
So I don't know. It was fine, I guess. That's the best I could do, you know.
This fit the formula.
It did.
That we've seen. I guess it changed it a little bit, right? Because they didn't actually succeed in getting all of the ingredients.
True.
But so technically there's a little spin on it, okay, there's going to be times where they're not going to get it. Good thing it was this episode and not the Tree of Life episode. We're sorry guys, the planet's going to die. We didn't actually succeed.
Right. I guess I'll give them that they did introduce a B plot. That's a new development, I felt like.
Yeah.
But the overall tone and the style of the mission and just I think this is a good representation of what the series is like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. This is right on. This is the cookie cutter mold right here.
Hilary, why don't you tell us your Ichiwawa moment?
Okay, which one is that?
Ichiwawa is when you're like, oh yes, that's cool, I like it.
Okay, the thing I picked was at the very end when the guy is trying to get the very last plant monster guy to open his mouth.
Yeah, suddenly Seymour.
And he won't do it.
Yep.
That I thought was cute. The plant was like,
The plant's like,
yeah, and then they finally did.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna give it to that.
Okay, all right. Steve, what about you?
That was similar to mine too, but it was the combination of Paplu, right? Yeah, it was Paplu getting tickled, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was such a weird thing too, right? Because it was just this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be sort of eating them, but if you realize it's actually only eating things the cupcakes and bread and the basket and other things, not actually eating the Ewoks.
Yeah.
And so that was really funny when it was tickle, 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 tickle. So Paplu had a chance to get revenge on it. That was just
it's pretty good.
Whose idea was that?
That's
somebody sitting at the writing table what if we did this? And they were oh yes, that's a great idea. Yeah. So just funny,
Yeah.
Mine. What about you, Nick?
I was a fan of the Keats. From the minute the first Keat walked on the screen with his dad bod and his bad attitude, I just really cracked me up.
I loved his swinging the arms as he walked.
Yeah. And I like that they communicated entirely through sass. Hands on hip, waving arms. I just, I like the design. I like the stuff. that happened with the Keats. So it's going to be Keats for
Its
me.
eyes got red.
Yeah.
Like, can we have one of your orbs? And it was just like, like,
yeah.
like dare ask for one of my nectar orbs.
Yep.
That was really good. What about Okavark?
Oh, yes, Hilary.
Moments? These are the negative.
Okay,
Yeah, Hilary, what do you got?
I had 3. I think I'm gonna. Well, one of them, Steve, was the tickling of the foot. I was gonna say that for Okavark because I hated that. But
you're a guest on this podcast.
Sorry.
Hilary.
Yeah,
I guess I will go with them constantly like Batman walking up the sides of things with the sticky shoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, lean forward or something. I don't like that. It makes sense in like live action.
Yeah.
But like you're animating it, just
Yeah.
make it so you would actually do that.
Sure.
In some way.
Mm-hmm.
She implements a leaf wrapped around her foot with sticky glue, then just throws them in her backpack. But she can use them to walk up a tree, but she can actually pull them out of her backpack.
Yeah, they won't stick to the backpack.
They won't stick to the backpack.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, geez. Yeah, that's a good Okavark moment for sure. Mine was just the simple fact that wouldn't it have been so much better to just thought of a way to get the original antidote and not think of a whole nother quest? Yeah, from the very beginning. Like, I mean, if it were something, it would have been better if it were 3 ingredients that were in the village.
Yeah.
Right? Then the whole episode, they're in the village fighting the plant, getting the stuff, and it's fun that way, rather than like, we got to do this before it takes root.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, you're going to go on an adventure, and we're just going to be here, and the plant, hopefully it won't take root in the ground by the time you get back.
I
Like,
know. I thought the same thing. It was just kind of anticlimactic. And then the fact that you don't even use... They got 2 of the 3 ingredients, and those 2 ingredients don't even get used. It's just kind of like, well, I'll just toss those in the trash,
Yeah. I had to rewind because I missed that they had gotten it, and I was just like, wait a minute. So I started typing like, yes, they took the ingredients and they made the thing. And I was like, wait, no, they didn't actually get them all.
They didn't.
I was like, what? I was like, I missed. Like
that was kind of lame.
Like dozed away for like 2 minutes and missed that pretty critical spot.
I think mine is just the tromes. I mean, it's not unlike the Jindas. It's just like, okay, we have a new, outlandish, irritating character for you this week, and I just didn't like anything about them.
Yeah, I hated the Tromes.
Yeah,
they've been introducing very silly characters,
for
right?
One-offs.
And you got to think that one-offs, and it's just like with the Tromes home pretty much dying dead, you'd think they would be much more grumpy than these goofy guys. They'd be mad. Like, can we get a one-off character that's like legit mad?
Oh, and she brings them back. She brings them back to help, but all they do is entertain the plant.
Yeah,
like that was part of her plan.
They just sing and dance.
Yeah.
And
the plan was these guys are gonna come.
The plant's like, hey, no, I'm a bloodthirsty plant, but these guys are hilarious.
Yeah,
it's just like, all right. Oh boy, Hilary, if you were gonna out of 5 yum nubs,
I don't want to do this.
Out of 5 yum nubs, Hilary.
Okay.
What would you do?
5, yeah.
Oh
1
my gosh.
being or 0, but is it 1 being the worst? Right, it's not 0.
So,
right?
I
It's
don't
between
have
1
a
and 5.
category for this.
Yeah.
Like it's not fair to rate it related to other things.
Sure.
Yeah, like compared to what,
But
right?
like,
All right.
I don't know.
Okay, well then let me ask you this: is there a world in which you'd be like, let's throw on the Ewoks?
No.
Okay.
Never again.
Never again. So.
I'm so glad that you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm glad for you.
Well, I mean, we enjoy each other. Let's not get crazy.
This podcast could be about anything. It's just for us to hang out.
That's true. Yep.
Next week, we'll be talking about pencil erasers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
we were starting. We were like, Ewoks or French toast? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know which one. So based on a sliding Ewok scale, I would say I'm going to give this a kind 3.5. I liked that there was something going on the home front. I genuinely liked I forgot their name. The
Crones.
The Crones. I genuinely liked those guys. The Creets. Yeah, and so, as far as Ewok episodes go, I would put this kind of on the top side. If I was forced to be like, okay, here are the Ewoks ones you should watch, I might include this one along with like Wicket's Wagon.
That's really funny with it being one of the 2 that you can't get.
Well, I think the same thing. I would say a 3.5
Yeah.
Simply because there's been episodes like this. So Hilary, there's been other episodes we talk about this kind of plot of like fetch quests, and then they get everything and then they win, right?
Yeah.
Everyone saves the day. But there have been episodes that were really good with this same plot line, right? So now here we get to an episode that's like, I don't think it's as good because we've already seen a very good episode. So we have something to compare it to. You don't. So like I get for you, you're just like, they didn't even get it.
Yeah.
They didn't even get all the ingredients. It was lame, you know? So I think, 3.5.
I don't want to open a whole new door of discussion here, but like the thing that always strikes me too is like Logray is magical. And it's like some episodes he can do literally anything. In other episodes like this one, he was like, well, there's a plant blocking the door. What am I to do?
I was just taking a drink.
Sorry.
Don't let it take root in the ground. Like, that's your job.
Right.
You ain't telling everyone else. Like, bro, I'm telling you, don't let it take root in the ground.
Are you the mystical shaman, or are you just an old man?
When they got there, too, he, like, his, like, face slapping, or his, like, forehead slapping, like, you didn't get them all? Like, it's just so
that needed
great.
Like a Flintstone sort of like spring noise or something, and like, wow. Oh my gosh. Well, Hilary, I assume you'll be back next week to talk more Ewoks.
Oh, I can't get enough.
And if you want to go back and watch the previous 10 episodes, that's fine too. You can do that.
But for no reason,
you can do that.
Just to watch them.
If only to just give a more accurate rating of the next episode.
Now, if people want to listen to you talk about X-Men and 90s cartoons, what have you guys been up to previously on X-Men?
We just finished season 2 of the animated series.
Okay.
It's on the 2-part finale reunions.
Okay. Moving into season 3?
Yeah, we'll be moving into season 3. We have you know, talk about the comics, talk about movies, all over the place.
Okay. Alrighty then. Well, next time here on This Endorian Life, we're going to be covering season 1, episode 12, Blue Harvest, which is a fun little in-joke that we'll talk about next time.
Yes, we will.
All right, Steve, always good to see you.
You too, as well. Hilary, it was great to see you as well.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inflicting this on me.
See you next time, everybody.
Inflicting this pain on you. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. You can find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter at Endorian Life, and please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcasts.